Welcome to the All Things Nintendo podcast. I'm Brian Shea, and this is a weekly podcast to discuss all the biggest news and games from the world of Nintendo. The year still feels like it's kind of revving up, so we have another special edition of this podcast for you. To start, it'll just be me chatting with you, the listener, but I'll soon be joined by not one, but two very special guests. First up, I will be joined by Axe of the Blood God co-host Nadia Oxford to discuss our shared experience attending MAGFest 2026 right near Washington, D.C. Then we'll have an extremely special guest, a very long time in the making, Crush 40's Johnny Gioeli, the singer behind such songs as Live and Learn, Open Your Heart, Sonic Heroes, and What I'm Made Of from the early 3D Sonic games. He will join me at the tail end of this episode, almost for an entire hour, so very excited for that. Both of those conversations took place on the ground and in person at MAGFest 2026. So if you're watching the video version, you'll have a chance to see us interacting in the same space, which is kind of a rarity. How this podcast typically works is, over the internet. So it's very cool. I love when I'm able to do in-person episodes of this show. So please stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. There's actually a little bit of news that Johnny Gioeli from Crush 40 drops in the middle of the conversation. It's the first place that he's mentioned it. But we also get into all kinds of other stuff, including a discussion of the recent lawsuit between him and Sega. And before we wrap up this segment, I am going to want to read what the Sega had to say about the lawsuit. Let me bring that up right now, actually. So when it comes to the gaming news, that is what we're going to be doing this first segment. But before we get into that, and I'm sorry to start two shows in a row on kind of a down note, but I hesitate to do this, but I just want to address the stuff happening in my neighborhood. So as many of you know, I, along with many of the other members of the Game Informer team, am based here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. And if you've been paying attention to the news, you've probably seen the huge surge of federal law enforcement and ICE agents. And it's such a disproportionate number of outside enforcement that they have sent that they now nearly outnumber, if they haven't already by the time you're hearing this, because there's talk of more coming, they outnumber the number of police officers in both Minneapolis and St. Paul combined, which is absurd if you think about it. This is a full-on occupation by the federal government. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because this is not a politics podcast. Everything that I talk about on this show impacts me in a profound way. And everything that I do throughout my day lately is colored by the fact that there is an anonymous masked occupying force, not only kidnapping and harassing my neighbors, but as you've probably seen on the news, in some cases, shooting them. And like when I'm writing during the day, it is on my mind. When I'm cooking dinner and I can hear the horns and whistles of observers of the ICE operations through my window, it is on my mind. And when even last night I was trying to unwind with video games, just shut my brain off to the outside world, and I couldn't. It was on my mind. And of course, when I'm recording this podcast, this very moment, it is on my mind because it is completely inescapable if you live in the Twin Cities or even in greater Minnesota for that regard. And, worst of all, none of this chaos was happening in the Twin Cities until ICE and the federal government came in from the outside. The Twin Cities are an incredible place that I've been lucky enough to call home for the last 11 plus years. And, it's just awful what is being done to the Twin Cities and the amazing place that I call home. And I did want to get ahead of this narrative because I know that I'm going to get comments. It's not the worst of the worst being detained, as some media outlets are parroting from the administration. I looked it up right before this show. The recent numbers show that nearly 75% of ICE detainees have no criminal convictions. And I want to ask you this, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, is this really the type of country you want to live in? This is a country now where US citizens and lawful permanent residents are being targeted because of political affiliation, because of skin color, or because of country of origin. I've had friends stopped by ICE who are US citizens. I've had they're just it's profiling, and it's terrible that that is what this is coming to. And I was born in the United States, and I have lived in the United States my entire life, and I don't feel safe going out without carrying my passport. And even then, I don't feel completely safe. Again, I am a US citizen. I've been a US citizen my entire life. I can't even imagine what other folks are feeling. And then yesterday, I went to a nearby Mexican grocery store, and I had to wait for a security guard to come and unlock the door for me. And this is a shop that I've gone to 100 times, and this is the first time that has happened. It's just unfathomable to me how this is impacting the various communities here in this metropolitan area, and it's going to have long-term effects both on a micro and macro level. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry this is running long. Nobody tuned into this podcast to hear me talk about politics, but the reason that I brought this up is one of the things that I promised you when I started this podcast was I'm always going to do my best to be real with you. And there's no way I can do that without acknowledging this off the top. And it's terrible. It's a constant state of anxiety. It's something that's always on top of mind. It's me having to think like, okay, do I really need to go to the grocery store, or do I really need to go out? Because there's just chaos here in the Twin Cities, and it's completely avoidable. Um, but on the positive side, as we begin to transition away from here, there have been incredible stories coming out of this. The sense of community here in the Twin Cities has just been absolutely unbelievable. Everyone that I have run into is looking out for each other, and I feel like in my day-to-day interactions, like when I am checking out at the grocery store or when I go to the gym, people are seeming to recognize the importance of being kind during challenging times like this. And I mean, say what you will about Minnesota, but tragedy has been inflicted upon us time and time again. And we always show up. And to that end, I want to do what I can do to show up myself and support the situation happening here in the Twin Cities and probably, many other cities across the United States. I had this Patreon page, and it doesn't do crazy numbers, but it does a little bit. And I've often talked about how this is the only way that I can really justify continuing to do this podcast is because of the amazing support that I get over on the Patreon page. And I want to do more with it this dark time that we're in right now. I'm going to be donating the equivalent of my Patreon earnings for the next month to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, which they're constantly on the front lines of civil rights and civil liberties battles. They're doing great work with regards to the situation that we're in the Twin Cities. I've been a paying member of the ACLU for about a decade now. But it's one of those things where it feels like they really could use a bump in this moment. And I'm under no illusion that my few $100s is going to make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. But either way, I'm going to be donating my earnings from Patreon this month. And if you feel so inclined, it is a nationwide organization after all. I will put a link in the description of this podcast where you can also donate. There's really no way to transition away from that. It's just really heavy times here, and I'm sorry that we've spent so much time already. Thanks for hearing me out. That's what I'll say. And I'm sure I'm going to get some fun comments from people who they just don't understand the concept of empathy for folks who they don't know, who don't think like they do, or don't look like them. But whatever. All I can do is ask people to try to approach distressing socio-political events with a sense of humanity rather than, just rooting for your side. I know in this day and age of division that's a lot to ask for. But this is, a real moment and real events that are impacting me in a very human way. And If that is offensive to you that I brought that up, then I don't apologize. But let's get into the show here, and whatever it is that you are going through, I hope that like from this point on, this episode serves as the escapism or distraction that you need from any challenges, whether it's you're here in Minnesota or you're anywhere else. Any challenges that you are facing in this moment. Now that we've got the heavy stuff out of the way, again, thank you so much for hearing me out and allowing me to address something that is impacting me profoundly. But before we I talked about the Patreon. If you would like to join the Patreon page, you can do so by searching for my name or the name of this podcast on patreon.com. There's $3, $5, $10 tiers, get you things like early and ad-free episodes, access to community Discord, shout outs at the end of every show. And the podcast is an independent entity week after week, even though I am going to be, donating this month's proceeds to the ACLU. Going forward, that's the only reason this show is able to continue as an independent entity week after week, is because of the folks on Patreon. So whether you want to do it for this month or donate, on your own, or do it in a future month to support me, you just know that it would mean a lot. All right. So really no way to transition away from that. But as I indicated at the start of the show, the industry still feels like it's kind of starting back up during this early part of 2026. But we do have a couple of news stories that I want to chat about. Not nearly as harrowing as the start of this episode. But one of the first major games to come out for Nintendo in 2026 is Mario Tennis Fever. And last week, we got an overview trailer for that very game. So they showed off the main gimmick of this game, which is the Fever Racket. And there's going to be 30 of them. You can do fever shots with them. And when you do, they activate their special ability. They do things like, like freezing the court or spawning enemies on the other team's side. But something that I thought was really cool about this was there's actually a way that you can counter the fever shots. And that is by returning the ball before they hit the ground on your side. So then, if you hit the ball at me and I hit it before it hits the ground on my side, it can reverse it. And then if it lands on your side, it will actually apply that effect on your side. So, and it can go back and forth like Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf battle style, where you're just hitting it back and forth until somebody blinks or somebody lets the ball hit the ground on their side. And I think that's a really clever way to implement and make it so that there is some degree of risk and reward. And it's not just some like press to win gimmick. And I also saw that in this trailer that you can, if you don't want that gimmick at all, you can actually turn it off and just play like classic tennis, which I think a lot of people are going to be happy about as well. And then there's also a tournament mode where the talking flower from Mario Wonder is the commentator. So that's fun. And then there's trial towers where you climb a tower by completing unique challenges. There's a ring shot mode where you hit the ball through rings to score points. There are also special match courts. And one that looked pretty unique was the forest court match, where you start on like very small tennis courts, and then you feed the ball to piranha plants that are scattered like across the net and around the perimeter of the court. And then as you do that, they grow grass to make the court bigger. And then there's a pinball match where the court is kind of inspired by a pinball table, where there's flippers and bumpers that you can like trigger, and it can trap your opponent inside like bumpers. The Racket Factory court spawns random fever rackets. And then my favorite is probably the Wonder Court match, where it uses the Wonder Flowers from Super Mario Bros. Wonder to change the match in all kinds of different ways, similar to the Wonder Flowers in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So the moment that I was certainly waiting for in this overview was the adventure mode. And it always feels like these story modes are very hit or miss in Mario sports games, but it's always the mode that I look forward to the most. And it seems from the trailer that it starts off as kind of a tutorial, and then it branches out into being like a story mode with mini games and challenges and bosses. And I'm hopeful that they don't do what they did with Mario Golf Super Rush, where they take like this single player mode that seems very, very promising, and they come up with a extremely interesting idea. Like the kind of like open world style golf course in Super Rush was very cool, but then they executed it so poorly where it's like you just can't get a good shot up onto like a cliffside because it's such a finicky like wind like tornado system to get it up there. So they had this really cool idea, executed it very poorly, and then they used it over and over again. I'm hoping that's not what they do with Mario Tennis Fever, because this adventure mode actually looks a lot more varied and straightforward. So I do have some hope, but we will have to wait and see. Um, Also of note in this trailer, there's 38 characters at launch, which is the biggest roster in Mario Tennis history. And I mean, I don't know about you, but this is sounding like a super solid follow up to Mario Tennis Aces. And, you know, I don't know if people know this about me. I think I've mentioned it a few times on the show, but I played tennis in high school after I sprained my ankle one year. After right before baseball tryouts, and I missed the entire year of baseball. And then I tried to go back, and I was just so rusty I didn't make the team. So I took that opportunity to actually pick up a tennis racket based on my experience with Mario Tennis on N64 and Virtua Tennis on Dreamcast. Just knowing the rules through that, I picked up a tennis racket and made the team. So I played 2 years of high school tennis, and I was even a tennis instructor during my college summers. So I'm always super interested in new tennis games, in particular Mario Tennis. But if this is sounding interesting to you as well, Mario Tennis Fever is coming to Switch 2 on February 12th. So we don't have much longer to wait for this one. So I'm getting more and more excited for this. Um, Also, I wanted to point out that we got another um, piece of news that was the kind of like Nintendo's Spotify Wrapped version, but for Nintendo, right? Like, so it's the year in review that Nintendo does, and you know, I ran this, and I like that they waited until January, because I feel like all of these year in review things, what they end up doing is they put it out in early December because everybody's starting to get like their year in review bug, or they put it out in mid-December and it doesn't count anything from December. Nintendo actually waited till the end of the year. I'm assuming because they have Metroid Prime 4 that came out in December. And yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a pretty straightforward, but also surprisingly fully featured. So it shows your gaming habits from the last year, but it also shows your like pretty much entire history with Switch and Switch 2. So to access it, you go to year-in-review.nintendo.com, and then you sign in with your Nintendo account. So my top games were number one was Pokemon Legends ZA, which makes sense since I reviewed that game for Game Informer. Number two was Donkey Kong Bonanza, which makes sense because I played that pretty much as much to completion as I could. And then number three was Metroid Prime 4. So no real surprises there. And then I got to this page where it shows basically your entire history with Switch and Switch 2, which I thought was super cool. And I have my top five here. So the top five all-time Switch games that I've played in my time with the Switch and Switch 2 were Breath of the Wild, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Tears of the Kingdom, Pokemon Sword, and Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So none of those are really surprising either. I guess Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, but then again, I think I've played Mario 3D World on Switch two times through, once by myself, once with a friend, and then I played through Bowser's Fury as well. And you know, I want to hear in the comments section, whether on YouTube or Spotify, what your top games were, because I'm 223 episodes into all things Nintendo, and I often talk about the games that interest me, and I think I have pretty general interests, so I think that has worked out for these first like 200 episodes and change. But it's also interesting to me to know what my listeners are wanting to hear about, what they're playing, and you know, that informs me on like what types of episodes I put together here. And I know there's a lot of, you know, people who play Zelda, Mario, all that stuff, and I'm always going to talk about those. But if there are games, I'm interested if there are games that would catch me off guard that are big in the listening audience. So do me a favor and leave a comment on YouTube, on Spotify. Let me know what games showed up in your Nintendo year in review, and I will read all of them and definitely take those into account as we move forward with the podcast. Also, wanted to bring up that the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition is out now. It's a very modest price to upgrade. I think it's only $5, and that gets you access to all the new features. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on. I haven't had a chance to dive in yet, but it's certainly something I will do. I also wanted to shout out Polygon's Giovanni Colantonio, friend of the show. He's been on the show multiple times. He wrote a piece that was very interesting to me because I think that, like a lot of us, he dove into the Animal Crossing New Horizons at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. And a lot of us were staying home and, diving into video games at another time that felt very scary. And, I think that it's interesting. He comes at it from the angle of revisiting a game that was very time and place in a time that, has a lot of emotional baggage for a lot of us, and what that felt like in 2026, going back to a game like that. I think that's an incredible angle, and I would recommend everybody go check that out if you are interested in reading an interesting piece of criticism, a unique piece of criticism and analysis about this game. I think that I love when journalists approach game criticism and analysis through different lenses, and that's a very ubiquitous lens that I think a lot of us share of Animal Crossing. Okay, so I cut there for a second because I was trying to find Sega's official statement that they released when the Crush 40 Johnny Gioeli lawsuit came in. I was going to try to give both sides of it, but I don't think that they have filed. They have released any information on it. I'm trying my best to find one here. I reached out to my Sega contact, and they told me that they think they put out a statement back when it was settled, or when the lawsuit was thrown out. But it doesn't look like they did. And I did my best to find it, but it doesn't seem like there actually was a statement put out by Sega. So in lieu of that, we are just going to jump right into our first break of this episode. And when we get back from that, we'll have two very special in-person conversations from MAGFest 2026. First up, Nadia Oxford, and then later, an in-depth conversation with Johnny Gioeli from Crush 40. I thoroughly enjoyed both conversations, and I hope you do as well. We will be right back.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So our orders get all backed up. We're drowning in paperwork, then actually drowning. Carol is fighting off sharks with a stapler, and pirates are pillaging the office copier, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant goes beyond the resume, using unique insights to deliver a smarter shortlist. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
We are back, and we are coming to you live from MAGFest 2026. And I'm now joined by somebody who's been on the podcast before. She's the co-host of the Axe of the Blood God podcast. It is an RPG podcast that is supported by Patreon, just like this very podcast. It's Nadia Oxford. Nadia, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm excellent. Thank you so much for just having me. It was kind of a random thing. You realized I was here, and we just met and decided to make a podcast happen. That's beautiful.
So I think you came on the show to talk Dragon Quest III HD2D?
Yes, that sounds about right. I know I reviewed the 1 and 2 HD collection for you guys as well. And I don't know if it's in the magazine, but it's going to be in the magazine, one or the other.
It was in the magazine already.
There you go.
But I think Game Informer was shut down when you were on All Things Nintendo
that's right.
the first time.
Yeah, that's right.
And now, Game Informer's back. Aww. All Things Nintendo is still going along, and so is Axe of the Blood God. How's everything going over there?
Really good. We're having a great time. We had Kat step down as main host earlier because she went to go be with Larian as one of the senior writer or something.
It's a terrific fit.
That's just amazing. That is incredible. We're really glad for her. So we're kind of taking over. We're kind of rotating host duties. I'm doing some hosting, but mostly it's Eric, who you know him. He might be some jerk, I don't know. But we have Eric, and of course Victor, our theater guy, and he's a really great host as well. People say they want me to host more, but I'm just I'm kind of bad about being in the spotlight that way. But I'll try in the coming year. I will try to bring my brand of chaos to you great people.
I will say that the first time I had you on, I had a very positive reception. People were like, "Oh, yes,
thank you."
So we are here at MAGFest 2026. It is the first time you've ever been to this convention. It's the, I think, fourth time I've been here, but it's the first time since 2014 for me. So it's been a good 12 years since I've been to MAGFest.
You must have see, this is my first context for MAGFest, but you must have seen it blow up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was there the year that everybody credits as like the year that everything blew up.
Oh, sweet.
Which was when Nobuo Uematsu performed.
Oh, really?
So that was the only time I've ever met him. And I was totally by chance. Like I knew he was performing live, but I was just out in the courtyard, like here at the Gaylord National Resort, where the convention is held. And I was just hanging out there. And then suddenly Nobuo Uematsu and the Earthbound Papas come out for a photo shoot. And I'm like, oh my God. Like this is, and he was doing a signing like later in the day, and I walked past it, and it was like probably 1,000 people in line. Wow. So I just got completely lucky.
That's the fun of conventions, though. You just catch some guys, like you try not to bother them with taking a leak or something, but otherwise everything else is fair game, or eating. But yeah.
Well, I definitely bothered Kojima on the way to the bathroom at E3. He was walking into the men's room as I was exiting, and I was just like, I gotta say hi to Kojima.
I admit, me being me, I'd be following him being like, wow, you pee? You actually pee?
So MAGFest, I think that this is a convention that it's very different from the kind of convention you and I are used to going to as members of the media, because this is so fan and community driven. It's not like we were talking like on the escalator up to this room of like, wow, this is like so not corporate.
Yes.
Like there's some corporate sponsors, and like, this is a very like Mega Man themed event this year. They're doing all kinds of different like themes throughout like the different years. Like some years it'll be like Final Fantasy themed. I've been when it's been Zelda themed.
That sounds fun.
That was mine because like Zelda's my favorite franchise. So,
awesome. Good choice.
That is one that I was super excited about. I'm not the biggest Mega Man fan, but super excited to be here for. I know you were talking about seeing the Proto Men who were performing here.
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
I'm here for Crush 40, which performed last night.
See, I would have loved to see that, but I missed out because I was saving energy for the Proto Men.
So I guess talk to me about your experience coming to a convention like this that is like so different from like the summer game fests and E3s that we're used to.
Like you were saying, it's mostly the corporate aspect in that I'm so used to going to, you have like your artist alley, they're over here. Whereas like a dealer's room is where you go and you have, like I was saying to you, like 15 variations of the same character and like the same models and the same prints and stuff like that. So that's not really here. Everything's more integrated here. I think you'll find like, I think one of the reasons why they check for badges so frequently at the door is because wherever you walk in MAGFest, because it takes up the whole hotel, like it's shut down, and just for people who are going to MAGFest, period, you have no badge, you can't get in. There's like performances always going on. Like I think, unfortunately, I missed the orchestra this morning, but there was like in the courtyard, like the Super Mario Galaxy orchestra. Like that's what you'll get when you come here. It's just that it's a very laid back con, even though it's quite crowded. Like there's a lot of people here, but I've seen everyone just be super positive and nice to each other and helpful. And I'm going around in a wheelchair some of the time because of chronic pain issues. And people have been like, they've been extremely accommodating here as well. One thing I have to praise them for is that I went to rent a wheelchair when I realized, okay, you know what, I'm not going to be miserable on this whole weekend. And they rented it for me. They gave me one. And when you rent something like that, an accessibility aid, but you're used to having to give them a credit card. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that here. And I really appreciated that. Of course, they said to me, if you don't give back the wheelchair, we're going to fine you. And I understand that. But yeah, otherwise like that, just little things like that really keep you realizing, okay, so yes, I had to pay to get in here, but they're not trying to nickel and dime me everywhere.
Yeah, what I love the most about this place is like, the outside world right now is so tumultuous and for a lot of people very scary. And this feels like such like an inclusive space where everybody just feels so welcome. And like, I've seen so many people from so many different walks of life, and they're just living their best lives here at MAGFest. You walk in and there's the artist alley, as you mentioned, which so many amazing artists, including a listener to this show. He messaged me, Hugo. Shout out to Hugo. And, I went and bought some prints from him, and incredible artists. Check out Hugo's Corner. I will. Amazing work. I got a Super Mario 64 print, kind of like an isometric view.
Oh, I love that.
And then I got a Pokemon Yellow print that was really cool. And then, just unbelievable art. And then there's, game vendors. I've been, ever since I got the analog 3D, I've been slowly rebuilding my N64 collection.
There you go.
So I found a copy of WCW versus NWO Revenge, which was like
nice.
my favorite wrestling game of all time. Not even like a big wrestling fan anymore, but when I was in middle school, like WCW and WWF were like the big competitors, and I was on Team WCW. We saw how well that worked out.
And my husband was here laughing at you. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. But WCW versus NWO Revenge, I was obsessed with that game. And I saw a copy for $15. They said they clean all of the cartridges, they replace all the batteries. And I'm like, yeah, $15. I will gladly support like a small game shop to start slowly rebuilding my N64 library. Next on my list is Star Fox 64, which
that's a great game.
I've talked about enough on this podcast. I've been talking about Star Fox a lot. I've been on a Star Fox kick lately, and I'm like, I kind of want.
It's a great game. I mean, like Star Fox 64. I bought that when it came out, the day it released, and of course, the 3DS port is a great port.
I talked about this on my podcast before, but like when the 3DS version came out, I was playing it and on a plane, and we hit really severe turbulence. And it was like a full body rumble pack. It was the greatest, most immersive experience I've ever had in video games.
I might die, but it was great.
I'm like getting hit and doing barrel rolls and actually feels like I'm doing it in real life. Yeah. But, and then you go over to another area of MAGFest, and it's just right next to Artist Alley. And it's just tube TVs as far as you can see with different consoles and different games loaded up, and like all kinds of retro games. There's like fan games, like just crazy.
There's speed running. We have a good friend of ours who does what's it called, David? MAGFest.
MAGFest. I like that name. Yeah.
And he speed runs Mega Man stuff, and just we couldn't even get into that speed run because the line was so long.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an extremely popular pastime. And hey, it's the weekend of Games Done Quick, so
perfect.
Yeah.
So there's also the giant, like maybe the biggest free play arcade I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, we were passing by that. It's amazing.
And it's all kinds of niche things, like everything from like, okay, well, here's Street Fighter 2 to here is, oh God, what is the name called? Denshade? It's where it's like
Eric will know.
The train conductor game where you're literally,
yes.
It's a train conductor simulator, but it has like the full board and everything.
Yeah, they have that there?
Yeah, they have like 3 stations of that. And I was watching somebody play because I just got back from Japan like a week and a half ago. And like, you ride the trains constantly.
Yeah.
And so like I was watching somebody and it's like, that I've ridden this line before, and I looked it up and it actually is real world Japanese lines.
I love that.
And it's such a cool thing. So like stuff like that, all the like the taiko drum games over there, all the DDR and like DDR adjacent like different dancing games, and like the crazy like swiping music games where the people are wearing the gloves. And
I think one thing that surprises me as well about the convention is that again, I mentioned how it takes up the whole hotel, and I thought to myself, well, not to disparage like small conventions, but you think to yourself, oh, a hotel convention, like isn't that usually small? Like, how's that going to work? I didn't realize how big this place was. Like, I know it's attached to a convention center itself, but then you realize, oh, we're kind of in the heart of where this kind of stuff is supposed to happen, like where everyone is supposed to gather. So may as well use the space. So it's
honestly, they're extremely lucky that they chose this spot very early on. They've been here for decades.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes.
And I remember when I used to come, it didn't take the entire thing. Like there would be people just staying at the hotel and being like, what the heck is this?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm used to.
What's going on here?
That's what I'm used to.
They've now absorbed the entire Gaylord National Resort. And it is just incredible, and it's jam-packed full of people. We haven't even talked about the concerts, really. Like,
no.
Mega Ran is here. Rebecca Sugar performed.
Rebecca Sugar is here.
So I met them at the.
That's amazing.
I was backstage in the green room for the symphony orchestra performance with Johnny from Crush 40.
Yeah.
And they had all the conductors back there, and then Rebecca was back there because they performed a number as well. And I just got a quick picture and was very excited because, I loved Adventure Time, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about Steven Universe.
Yeah. I actually was saying how before we saw the Proto Man on night 1, Rebecca Sugar was there singing, and they did the Crystal Friends theme. And I'm not a big Steven Universe fan, but I love Rebecca's music. I was kind of hoping they would sing Everything Stays is one of my favorite songs by them, and didn't get to hear that, but I'm glad I heard the Crystal Friends thing.
Yeah, and hearing the music with like the full symphony orchestra, it was like a 58-piece orchestra with a full choir behind.
Yeah, and Mega Ran had the saxophones, and so good. And the Proto Men have the trumpets and the brass.
Yeah, and so the lineup was like the Megas. Oh, first it was I forget his name. Johnny Play, I want to say.
I don't, not familiar with that one, unfortunately.
But he's the composer of Super Meat Boy.
Oh, okay.
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Oh, okay.
Rift of the Necrodancer, and I believe Cadence of Hyrule.
Cadence of Hyrule. I didn't play Rift, but Cadence is a great game. I bought all the DLC, so he's
same.
amazing.
So he was up there playing drums, and he had a guitarist up there with him, and that was how it started the night last night for the concerts. Then it went right into the Megas, then Crush 40, and after Crush 40 was Bit Brigade. And if you've never seen Bit Brigade, it's basically, there's a full band that comes up on stage, and there is an old school like console TV on stage facing away from the audience.
Yeah.
A guy runs out after the band, sits on the ground like he's sitting in his living room playing a game. And what he has on the screen is projected behind the band.
Yes.
And the guy sitting on the floor speed runs a game. And while he does that, the band plays the soundtrack of every level that he's playing.
That's amazing.
So I've seen them do the original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
I've seen them do the original Castlevania. Both were unbelievable. I didn't get to see them last night, but they did, I believe, Mega Man X2.
Oh, I would have loved to see that. I might have to look that up.
That would have been super. I know there's live streaming a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, they are. There's actually one thing that's really great about this convention as well, is that there is a live stream feed in every hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are missing these concerts, you can't go to them or whatever, we just have the feed up sometimes when, you got to come, because you got to come back and you got to recharge. You can't see everything, unfortunately. I really wish I could.
Yeah, I left pretty early last night.
Yeah. You feel your age when you're here.
You really do. But speaking of like feeling, I don't know if you're like me, but like I think I have teared up at every E3 I've ever been to. Mm-hmm. I think I've teared up at every PAX, every Summer Game Fest. And it's different things that hit me. It's the emotion of seeing somebody else just being super excited about stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but as we go to more and more of these events, you start to get a little desensitized to like the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So the thing that gets me is seeing people like just really, really like either it's their first time or they still have that like that love for whatever it is that's happening. Mm-hmm. And like seeing people lose their minds over like Crush 40 last night when like, they're playing Live and Learn.
Live and Learn.
And
yeah.
They were so good. But having that moment and seeing like people just freaking out, and it's just like that gets me, right? Like that makes me tear up. Or seeing like going through Artist Alley and seeing like a little kid being like, oh my God, they have an Eevee hat.
Oh, I love it.
That gets me really, really like emotional. And it's because like I see myself in that kid of like, I remember seeing like a Mario t-shirt at Kohl's and being like, they sell Mario t-shirts?
Yeah, exactly.
And like now it's like an entirely different world of like, there's Mario stuff everywhere. Mario is one of the greatest, like the highest grossing movies of all time now. And it's like, what a different world these kids are growing up in versus the world we grew up in where it was such a niche hobby. I'm
actually really happy to see when kids like get into the if I had kids, I don't, but I would kind of leave it up to them whether or not they want to get into video games. It's not something I ever force on them. Mm-hmm. But I do love seeing when like there's a parent and a kid is genuinely interested in like what they are doing. There have been instances where I have done panels at like RetroCons and you can tell when dads are dragging their kids along and I feel sorry for the kids. But I do love it when like a kid is genuinely interested and wants to know something, has questions and wants to look at when you look at the stories these days about how kids are like, oh, all they care about is Fortnite, all they care about is Minecraft, all they care about is, God forbid, Roblox. And Minecraft is great. I have nothing against Minecraft. Even Fortnite is getting more and more commodified to the point that I'm like, Roblox is a danger zone. So I'm glad that like consoles still have that sway over children, and it's all commercial, of course, but there's some stuff is healthier than others, I think.
Yeah. So what's your main takeaway from MAGFest 2026? Now we're basically coming up on the end of this conference, which feels weird because it feels like we just got here. But how are you feeling like coming away from this? Would you come back? What is kind of your key takeaway from this?
Oh, absolutely. I would come back in 2 seconds. Like I am planning to hopefully come back next year. This was a total fluke on the part of my friends who are somewhere here. Thank you, everyone, for helping me get here. Basically, when I heard that the Proto Men were not only doing Act 3, which I've been waiting for 18/16 years, however long it's been, but also just doing all 3 acts, I'm like, you know what? This has got to happen. This is going to happen. You know, those days where you're like, this might as well happen. Yeah, that was me. So, but now that I'm here and it's not just about the Proto Men, I'm like, oh, I really like the vibe here. I really like the photo shoots. Like I went to the photo shoot for Final Fantasy 14 and for Mega Man and had a great time. And heck, if you'll have me, I'll come back. Love to be here.
Well, we're going to wrap up here in a second, but before we do, we're at the start of a brand new year. What games are you most looking forward to?
We just did on Acts of the Blood God an episode about our most anticipated games. I am really looking forward to Pokotopia, whatever they're calling it. Pokopia. I can't pronounce the name. I swear to God, I'm looking forward to that game so much because it's by the Dragon Quest Builders team, and it's very much looking like a Pokemon-themed Dragon Quest Builders. And have you played Dragon Quest Builders 2?
Not 2, just the first one.
1's great, but 2 is just like sublime. And
really?
We're getting that same kind of engine or idea in a Pokemon universe. I am so jazzed for that. Hence that.
Well, Nadia, thank you so much for taking the time out of your MAGFest.
This has been a pleasure.
Come on All Things Nintendo once again. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media, on the internet, where they can support Acts of the Blood God.
Sure. Well, of course, I am on Blue Sky at nadiaoxford.bluesky.social, whatever it is. Acts of the Blood God is at patreon.com/bloodgodpod. We record every week. We cover RPGs, old and new, Eastern and Western. If you are subscribed at the $5 tier, every week you will get a newsletter from myself, and it is an unhinged, beautiful chaos. And if you miss that bloggy writing, that bloggy style that we used to get in the aughts and the tens, and heck, if you like my writing in Game Informer, please find me, please find us. And you are supporting independent writers and recorders when you do that. So, and Eric, who's part of
Game Informer.
Eric will eat more if you are able to support Acts of the Blood God. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for joining me. We're going to take our final break of this episode, and when we get back, we'll be joined by our second special guest of this MAGFest edition of All Things Nintendo. We will be right back.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use, helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize, so you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
We are back for the final time this episode, and I'm now joined by one of the most special guests we've ever had on the All Things Nintendo podcast.
Can't be.
You know him from Crush 40. You may know him from Hardline. You may know him from Axel Rudy Pell, but knowing the demographics of this podcast, they probably know you from Crush 40. It's Johnny Gioeli. How are you doing, Johnny?
Hey, man, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm just loving my life. Every day.
We've been out here at MAGFest. I just had a conversation with Nadia Oxford from Acts of the Blood God about the experience of coming to MAGFest. So before we really jump into the full-on conversation, what has your experience been at MAGFest?
So this is my first MAGFest. Every time I've been invited, I was always on tour. Mm-hmm. So it has been absolutely the show of shows for me. I do a lot of events. This blew my mind. The mass of people. I think we have about 25,000 here.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. So it was a thrill, and it's very busy, and it's very crowded, and it's very fun, and the music is awesome here.
Yeah.
So many acts, so much talent. Everyone's having a great time. It's a great community.
And you not only gave the full band performance, the Crush 40 experience with a live band, which is amazing because I feel like that's becoming a little bit more of a rarity these days. So like seeing you with a live band, like full drums, bass, 2 guitars, that was incredible. And then you performed in front of a symphony orchestra, Night of the Wind.
That was epic. Yeah. So having the band, that's always my preference because it's just so real. Some of the events it's okay to use a backing track. It's okay. Always my preference for live. And today with the orchestra, this blew my mind in the atrium with if you could only feel what I felt, seeing, people at every level within the hotel, plus the whole atrium, and that sound. I think we had over 300 people involved in the entire symphony with choir and everything. That was mind-blowing. I was nervous. It takes a lot for me to be nervous. I was nervous. I just wanted it to be great. And I think what do you think?
I thought it was incredible.
Okay,
like,
awesome.
I mean, Night of the Wind is not even my favorite song of yours. Like it is our pal, Ben Richland over here.
Yeah.
It's his favorite song of all time. I love
favorite
Night of the Wind.
Yeah.
Not my favorite of yours, but it sounded incredible with the choir backing and the symphony orchestra, the string section. Oh my God.
Yeah, they were insanely good. And only rehearsed once, so it was magnificent. Really, really great. Yeah. I loved it. That was the highlight for me. Of course, I love the big Crush 40 show, and we had like 5,000 people there that we could fit in that room. That was awesome. But something about the orchestra, probably because it was just new and exciting, and that was epic.
So, as I mentioned at the top, you are very well known in the video game community for your contributions to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise.
Yeah.
With the band Crush 40, which you started with Jun Senoue of Sega.
Yeah.
And together you've put out things like Open Your Heart for Sonic Adventure 1, Live and Learn on Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes. You had 2 songs, What I'm Made Of and Sonic Heroes Theme.
Yeah, I think so.
I know you know those songs. You performed them both last night.
Yep, absolutely.
And then it just goes on from there for pretty much the next decade after that.
Yeah, it's hard to believe how quickly the time went too. But yeah, it just seemed every year Sega would queue up the next game or the next song. Okay, Johnny, can you help us with this? Can you do this? Can you do that? And it just, and here we are. This morning, just recapping all of the songs, and I'm like, wow, we did so much work. So many songs for the franchise and for the fans. So yeah. And I think there might be some more coming. We'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
So I think I told you this the first time we FaceTimed, probably like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And, before I stared writing about video games, which I've been doing this for almost 18 years now in the video game space, I spent a few years writing about music. And a large part of that was because when I was a little kid, I went to a neighbor's house, played Sonic Adventure 1 right when it came out, and I heard this song, Open Your Heart. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And the game itself was blowing me away to the point that I started saving up my allowance and like grass cutting money and everything to try and buy a Dreamcast with Sonic Adventure, washing cars, babysitting, raking leaves, all that stuff.
Mom, I'll clean the bathroom, please.
So, but I got that game, and I looked more into this band Crush 40 that did this theme song, and I think I went and found a way to buy the soundtrack of Sonic Adventure 1, which game soundtracks back in 1999 were not super common.
Right.
It was hard to get that. So I found it somehow, and then I started looking more into, I was like, I really like the singer. The singer of this band is really, really good. So I started looking more into you, and I found Hardline, which is a band you started with several rock luminaries. Neil Schon from Journey,
exactly.
The guitarist of Journey. He was an original member of Hardline. Michael T. Ross, was he an original member, or he joined later?
No, he joined later.
Okay, was that for two?
We had for two. Yeah, we had Neil Schon from Journey. Dean Castronovo, who was also now in Journey. So 3/5 of Journey is really Journey line, Hardline. And Todd Jensen, who was at the time with David Lee Roth and I think Alice Cooper, and then joined Hardline. So that was a power band. And of course, my brother Joey on rhythm guitar too.
Yeah. So just got really into Double Eclipse, fantastic debut album. It was criminal to me that band did not just explode in the U.S. Do you think it was because of in the U.S. because it's huge in Europe?
Yeah.
In the U.S. though, do you think it was because the grunge movement had already kind of taken hold?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I was in my young 20s. This was a massive $8.5 million record deal. It was my first big thing, right? And I remember a very high profile guy, I won't mention his name, came into the recording studio and said, guys, this album is awesome, but it's not going to do anything. And MTV's not going to be playing videos anymore. I'm like, what? It's MTV. But no, it's done. It's done. Great album, you guys. Good luck. You'll do fine, but this is over. And I'm like, well, what do you mean it's over? He's like, well, here's this band called Pearl Jam. Play it. And he put it on. He's like, and I'm like, what? What is this? I didn't understand it. No one understood it. And the whole grunge era hit and just took out all of like a rocket launcher, just took us all out. And that was the start of the grunge movement. And but the melodic rock scene stayed in Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, Scandinavian countries, oddly, and that's where the fan base really exists now. Still, I mean, of course, we have our U.S. fans, but it just kind of it disappeared in America. It just kind of dropped off, which was very sad. But we managed to do very well, and the Double Eclipse album that became a very classic rock album even today, and it was like my brainchild. It was my heart, soul, my blood, everything into that album. So when that transition happened, I was devastated because I worked all my life. I've been performing professionally since I'm 11 years old, and you're at a point where you're like, now what? And so I took a little hiatus because I had to figure out what meant. And so I took a little time and then slowly transitioned back into it at a different angle. And then it took off in Europe again. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm creating all of this Crush 40 music. And Brian, I want to tell you that it was my idea with Jun Sonoy to create the band Crush 40, because when it was presented to me to make music for a game, I'm not a gamer. Mm-hmm. I've never played a game. Well, okay, that's a lie. I played Pong and I played Frogger, and Frogger was like epic to be. Wow, it's in color, and it was the whole thing. So I'm showing you my age.
Wait till you hear about Crossy Road.
I don't know what
it's just a modern Frogger.
Okay,
it's a mobile game.
Oh my God. So I was like, to me, this was creating music like scoring a film. Mm-hmm. To me, the games were films, and I needed to create for those scenes. So I said to June, June, movies have soundtrack albums and there's bands, and we need to be a band. I didn't understand the community. I didn't understand gaming. I didn't understand how incredible the whole franchise was. I didn't know. All I knew was I had a specific job, and I had to try to bring this scene alive. And I thought that it would be best that a band brings it alive. So I was in my 30s, and Jun Sonoy called me and said, well, what suggestion do you have? I said, well, I never, ever want to turn 40 years old. So let's Crush 40. And that's how that was it. He goes, I love it. That's it. It was done.
Wow.
Crush 40 was born on that telephone call. And then from that point, Open Your Heart Forward, it was Crush 40. And so
Sons of Angels originally, right?
So Sons of Angels originally and then there was some kind of copyright issue with the name. There was a band in England or something. So June said, we better change the name. But I love Crush 40 much better. I never really understood Sons of Angels. June liked this, but I didn't understand it. But from that point, I was still not understanding the depth of how incredible this whole franchise is and what the games meant, what the music meant. I was still just trying to bring that scene alive the best I can. Good. And I said to June, people are going to buy this because they love the game, or they may buy it because they love the band. So I think this is a win-win. Again, not understanding. And then it just exploded. And when did I realize how big it was 2002. Sonic Adventure 2 comes out. I write the song Live and Learn. I send it to June. June sent some music, and I chopped it up in my studio. I pieced it together, and I wrote the lyrics. And it was my daughter, who was very young, I said, honey, read this to me. What happens in this game? And she's like, okay, Dad, evil Eggman does this. I'm like, what's the Eggman? I didn't know anything, man. I was just a complete idiot. I'm like, okay, I have enough. I think I know. And I had some storyboards from Japan, and with Japanese writing that did absolutely nothing for me because I can't read Japanese, and a little bit of English and these little drawings. And I created Live and Learn off of just that. Wow. At that point, I turned the song in. I didn't know if it was good. I said to June, is it good? Do you like the song? He's like, I love it. I go, you sure it's good? Because I can change, I can work. No, it's perfect. So I'm like, okay, great. And then life goes on. I was invited to the Tokyo Game Show. Mm-hmm. It was at that point that I realized what happened. I was being staged and positioned for this to play Live and Learn for the next day at the show. And I wasn't watching what was happening out there. And then it's time for the song. I come out and I'm like, what? Just thousands and thousands just, and I went, oh, I think we did something really good here. From that point, Brian, it was just up.
So for Jun Senoway to reach out to you, or did you reach out to him initially, like to start working together at the first place?
No, Jun was a big Hardline fan.
Really?
Yeah. Again, he heard Double Eclipse and he loved my voice, and he's had a lot of great singers contribute to the franchise. And he reached out and said, "Hey, are you interested in singing some gaming stuff?" Again, Sons of Angels was the NASCAR console where I just sang songs. They were not my songs. I didn't write them. Jun wrote them. And I'm like, yeah, well, why not? To me, a song is a song. It's it's an art form, and let's just sing it. So yeah, he contacted me he got my number through a gentleman in the band Whitesnake, who I'm friends with. And that whole thing happened. Yeah, like that. And then we became great buddies, and it went from there.
And so, not having any insight into the gaming community whatsoever.
Zero.
To performing at MAGFest in front of, thousands upon thousands of gamers.
Yeah.
Like, what has that kind of learning process been like for you?
Well, I was ashamed at myself that I didn't understand the community as I do now. And I tell this story a lot. I was doing an event in Pennsylvania, and I was picked up at the airport, and there was a bunch of famous YouTubers in the van because, we're just kind of consolidating the rides from the airport to the event. And being a gentleman, I said, hello, everyone. Once I got in the van, I'm Johnny Gioeli from Crush 40. And people just started laughing. And I was like, what happened? They said, we know who you are. You were our childhood. You were our music dad. You were our babysitter. You were our childhood. And I freaked the F out, Brian. I remember running up to my room and calling my wife saying, I missed this. I missed this. And I could have done so much more to be part of the community. And she said, well, you didn't know. I go, now I understand. And it was literally, I tell that story a lot. From that point forward, I get it. I get why everyone is here. I understand it, and I love it. I have 108, maybe 109 now albums released worldwide. That's a lot of music.
So much music.
So much music. But this brings the most happiness for me. It really does. I mean, look, I love playing a Hardline show. I love playing an Ask Rudy Pell show. I play to massive 60, 70, 80,000 seats. Love it. But there's something very special about this community. I watch everyone interact together. I watch everybody love each other. There's no judging anyone in this community. Everyone is free to be who they want to be, what they want to be, how they want to be. And for me, it's just such a peaceful place. And when you, as an artist, experience 5,000 people like last night singing your song. I mean, what better payoff is that? It's not about money. It's not at all about money. It's about, as an artist, having someone accept your music into their life and being able to recreate it and sing it. I could have held that microphone out. They would have sang every word.
Oh yeah, when you watch back the footage, when you're doing Live and Learn,
They're every word, right?
Live and Learn, when you were holding the mic out to them, was as loud as when you were singing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for an artist, that's when you've had the ultimate in success.
Mm-hmm.
That point right there.
So I guess, like, you 108, 109, whatever the number is, albums, like, what do you look at as kind of like your crowning achievement? And if you want to say Live and Learn, that's fine. But what do you look at as like maybe the best piece of music you've written?
Oh man, that is such a good question that I have probably no answer for. I think every piece of music that I create is art. So I never write a song, even in the gaming world, even though I had some guidelines, like we want this to be, slow song. We want it to have this kind of meaning. I have a guide, but I'm never told it must be like this, right? So every song for me is like a blank canvas that I just am free to paint it. So it's just, it's a Picasso. It's like everyone is different. I don't know that I have one favorite song. I have a few. Okay, so in the Crush 40 world, I remember June contacting me and saying, let's write something hard and heavy. And What I'm Made Of was born. He sent me a piece of music. I said, oh, I got it. I was talking to someone today as I was roaming the halls down there, and they were like, well, so, how did it all happen with the music and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, there's tons of Crush 40 songs not released. There's so much Crush 40 music that I didn't connect with. So when I hear something, I hear it and I can write it immediately. I don't agonize, this line and that line. It just happens. Thank you, God. It just happens. What I'm Made Of is a really special song because I love playing it live. Of course, Live and Learn for the nostalgia. But now my hardline side of the world, I love In the Hands of Time.
Such a great song.
Thank you, because it was my dad's favorite song, and that song was about patience, which is difficult when you're in your young 20s and you want to be a rock star. And that song we still play today. Axel Rudy Pell, Oceans of Time. It was the first album I did, 1998.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize you'd been with them for that long.
Yeah, 27 years.
Yeah.
Insane. I got off of a flight. Took a little train ride, never spoke to him ever. It was only through email, which was very new. Now I'm really dating myself. And there I am going to the studio to record Oceans of Time. So there are special songs that have their place in time. So yeah, there's so many. Yeah,
there's a few hardline songs that I just can listen to any mood, any day of the week. Something like Everything.
Yeah, cause you're everything I want. Great song.
One of, I think, the most pure, like, rock love songs, I think, in terms of, like, just the way it hits every note that you want from a song like that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So Everything was written, of course, Neil Sean, myself, my brother, Eddie Money. Oh, yeah. Eddie Money wrote some of that song. Jonathan Cain. There was a lot of writers. Mark Tanner, bless his soul. Mark Tanner was a big producer, songwriter, wrote a lot of the Armageddon songs for Aerosmith. So Mark Tanner was involved in that song. That was a real contribution of the masses to make that song. And maybe that's why it's so great. So yeah, I love playing. We still play that song today, and we will play that song on the brand new Hardline tour that kicks off in April.
Awesome.
2026 here.
Also, Why? The song, the letter Y.
You know that song too?
Yeah.
Letter Y.
Such a good song.
Yeah, that song was written about just questions like why. You know, there's so many things that are unanswered in our lives, and that's what that song's about.
Mhm.
Tell me why. Anyway,
Wow.
wow, Brian.
Hey, I told you, I know those first two and a half albums, like Live at the Gods.
I hate this album. Okay, this is.
Hey, I'm not saying the live part, but I love the bonus tracks.
Oh, yeah,
studio recordings.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Paralyzed?
Paralyzed.
Or no, is that Hypnotized?
Hypnotized.
Paralyzed on
Paralyzed is
2.
yeah, I think Paralyzed on 2.
Now it's all jumbling in my head.
Oh, so many
I think
songs.
Only a Night Acoustic was on that.
Yes.
There was one more, but I can't remember what it is.
So many songs, thousands of songs.
Mhm.
People ask me, "Oh, Johnny, you use a teleprompter. You're getting old. You can't remember." I'm like, "Hey, man, I wrote thousands of songs, not just like a couple albums. This is hard. You know, they change hats. Okay, Crush 40, Hardline, Axel Repel, solo, boo, boo, like that." But I love it, man. Music is music. I love it.
And then, of course, you have so many other like offshoots of these bands you do, where it's not just like, it's not a Hardline album, it's not a Crush 40 album, it's not an Axel Rudy Pell album. Like, there was a band that you did that I love the album. You can't find it anywhere on any of the streaming services anymore. Accomplice.
Oh, wow, Brian, you're really going back. Yeah, Accomplice. That was a great album.
It was.
That was with Michael
She's
T.
on
Ross.
Fire.
She's on Fire with Michael T. Ross on keyboards. Yes, that was a cool album. Yeah, hard to find. Hardline 2, that's out of print, hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff out there. It's crazy.
At least that's on streaming, though. I can't find Accomplice anywhere.
Yeah, you can't find Accomplice. I have to give Michael a call.
Hey, if I've done my service to the rock community,
you have right now. Absolutely. A very good idea. We'll split it down the middle, 80-20.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Right down the middle.
Spotify
80-20.
famously pays so well.
Forget it. Bubble gum.
So I guess, like, what is the future of Johnny Gioeli in rock right now?
I am so busy. I'm busier than I ever have been. It's insanity. So, okay, let me go band by band. So I have a Hardline tour kicking off with a brand new album called Shout, which releases this April,
Awesome.
followed by a tour. You're going to love this album. Great album. You're going to love it. I hope everyone loves it. Axel Rudy Pell has a brand new album. I'm trying to remember the damn name of the album.
I know you loved the last album you guys put out.
Yeah, I love them all. They all basically sound the same, but they're cool. Something Ghost. Okay, anyway, Ghost, Wizards, Dragons. So that comes out in March, and then we go out on the road too. So I go from Axel Rudy Pell tour directly to a Hardline tour, directly to a solo tour, back to a Hardline tour. I'm booked into to the end of 2027.
Jeez.
But the amazing thing I'm going to share with you right now, the most amazing tour, sort of my last hurrah, because I'm getting a little tired. I mean, I've got a lot of energy. Everyone knows that. You've seen it. I've got a lot of energy.
Seen it firsthand this weekend. Good Lord.
But I'd like to spend a little more time with family and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've missed a lot of birthdays, a lot of anniversaries. I've missed a lot of events. I haven't seen a 4th of July in America in a very long time. So by the end of 27, I think I'd like to slow down a little bit. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop, but I'm going to slow down. I am building, and you are the first to hear it.
Okay.
You are the first, because I love you so. I am building a Crush 40 world tour using the most visual immersive technology ever seen.
Oh, wow.
I am bringing to this show close to $2 million in visual effects to bring a show never seen before in the gaming music world. I'll have great guests, great openers, and we're going to tour this show literally around the world. We have 63 shows already planned in every major city in the entire world. And this is my last hurrah. I've wanted to do this for the last couple of years because for me, there's more than just seeing a video screen behind me. I want to bring these characters alive on stage and have an immersive experience for the fans that they've never seen before, and that intimate feel, and just I want to bring the audience inside the game. That's the idea and inside the show. So we're going to have a beautiful storyline. It's going to be like seeing a movie. It's going to be like seeing Sonic 5, 6, and 7 and we're going to tour that around. So that's the inside story.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. So where are you looking for like kind of inspiration in terms of like the visual set of this? Because like, we've seen like, unfortunately, dead celebrities resurrected by holograms, like hologram Tupac. And
right.
That was a very controversial thing, like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But we also have things like the Sphere in Las Vegas, which are extremely visually immersive. Like what are you looking for, like the guidance here?
Yeah. So similar to the Sphere, that's exactly what I'm going to bring to life. I want to use the community and the talent in the community. I want to use their art form. I've got great animators from the community. I'm involving as many community members, I'll call them members, to this show as possible. So we want to, it's one thing remembering the scene in the game at a certain level, but to tie that into a storyline and have it be intimate, to like have Sonic speak something totally different than that level at this show, it's going to blow everyone's mind. It's going to blow everyone's mind. So I'm going to use as many community members to build this show as possible. I'm not looking outside of our community. I want artists from the community. There's so much talent. Mm-hmm. I'm blown away when I come to these shows, these events, and I see the artwork, and I see the animation, and I see the creators, and I'm blown away. So I would be stupid not to use the resources I have right here. And this is a massive family for me. And so I want my family involved. So that's the direction that we're doing.
And, I'm assuming live band, not
live band. Absolutely live band. Yep. Every major city in every part of the world. Wow. So we will start North America, then we will go South America, then we will go Europe, then we will go Asia. We're going to do Scandinavian countries. We're everywhere. Everywhere. I am going to be moving like can you give me a description? Like
freight
a
train.
Thank you.
Flying like an airplane.
Yes, flying like an airplane. Exactly. Yeah. I'm so excited for this, really. And that is my last hurrah. And then from there, you may see me drift off in my little bass boat with my fishing pole.
We'll hold a Viking funeral. Somebody will shoot a flaming arrow into the boat.
Brian, will you manage my online funeral?
Of course.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
We'll have it right here on the All Things Nintendo podcast.
Awesome. Fantastic. Let's not schedule that.
Well, speaking of schedule, when do you think we'll be able to expect tour dates or anything like that?
So we're going to start. So the tour is planned fourth quarter of this year. So the first shows, which will happen in North America, we have slated for December. I know it's very end of the year, but December of 26, and then all throughout 27. I'm really going to limit my activities with events and Hardline and Axel really to a bare minimum, because my focus is purely on bringing this show to the world. So yeah, December it kicks off, and then it doesn't stop. And I'm so excited for it.
You said how many dates?
So we have 63 planned already. 63 shows planned already. Yep.
Man, and you're just going to work your way through the different eras of Crush 40 music?
Yeah. So we're going to create a story. I want the audience to leave feeling like they took the story with them, like it was something brand new, yet tied into the whole history of Crush 40, its music and the games that we were involved with. So I can't divulge the story yet, but they're gonna leave going like, what? Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
And the Sonic community is obviously such an incredible group and very tight knit, very creative. We have Sonic fan games. We have Sonic art everywhere. Like the level of Sonic art we've seen at MAGFest alone,
insane.
It's incredible.
Yeah, really, pure insanity. Such talent. It blows my mind. Blows my mind. I'm handed things, as I'm walking through the halls, and I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. Did you draw that? Yes. What? Are you kidding me? Just amazing talent. So bringing that all into this show.
I think I've even seen Sonic fan art of you.
Yes, there's some crazy stuff out there. Yeah.
It's just crazy the way they've embraced you as somebody who is, a member of the community, even though, you're not the biggest gamer, but you are a voice for them.
So I think they understand the reason that I'm not a gamer. And I'll tell you, and everyone, I didn't want to be partial to any one character when writing. I wanted that blank canvas. I didn't want to write towards Sonic or towards Shadow or Eggman. I just wanted to write for the scene. So I purposely stayed away from playing the games. I just I wanted just to be neutral. And I remain that today. Okay, so I support autism, and I do a little bit of the battle. What the hell? What's it called?
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Thank you, Adventure 2 Battle. You see how stupid I am with it? And so I have played a little bit, and I'm terrible, but that's it. That's absolutely it. We can tell everyone that it was you who showed me the opening of Open Your Heart.
Sonic Adventure 1's opening cutscene.
Yeah, the opening cutscene. Never saw it before.
And you teared up because it meant so much to you.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I teared up. You saw that. You witnessed that. I teared up. Blew my mind. I mean, some of the games I have, most of it I've donated to charity, but they were still wrapped in the plastic. I never touched the game. Wow. I don't have a console. I don't have anything like that. I'm the music guy.
You would have thought Sega could have gotten you a Dreamcast.
You would think. Signed a few of them. But I like it that way. I will not enter that part of the world. I just want to be the music guy and music dad. I'm hearing babysitter a lot. You were my babysitter. Well, really? Yes. I played your music. Now you were my babysitter. Okay.
Well, it's better than an iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
What the current babysitter is.
That is true. That is true.
So, I guess kind of looping back to that, you talked about, your support of the autism community.
Yes.
Something I've learned about you and getting to know you better and better over the past couple of years is you are extremely involved in charities. Like if there is a charity that benefits the community, somebody asks you like, hey, I work in this charity. We love Sonic. There's a lot of Sonic fans that are supported by this charity. You don't say like, oh, tell me more about it. You say, how can I help?
Exactly. 100%. Yep. I get it now. I realize that that autism is real. And I want to support as much as I can, however I can. And so, that's exactly right. I support charities like Popcorn for the People, who employ the autistic community to do tasks as simple as just package little pieces of popcorn to logistics. There's every job is an important job and based on capabilities, and everyone's capable. And fully support anyone who needs help. And I'm active as much as I can on social media. I'm really busy, but I respond to as many messages, and I get thousands. Sometimes I'll dedicate a weekend and just sit in a lazy boy chair and just message and message and message and message. And I've learned how important these songs are to so many, and how they have lifted people when they were down or they were in a dark place. And to have your music be therapy is spectacular. I'm not a therapist. Please don't write me for therapy. I'm a singer. But knowing that the music lifts people is just magnificent. But I support a lot of charities. I'm a big dog lover. I spend a lot of time in Bulgaria, Eastern Europe. It's a lot of stray dogs. I keep bags of dog food in my car, and when I see a stray dog, I pull over and I feed them. Oh, wow. I'm doing this constantly. Just, okay, baby, I love you. It's just, I do what I can. I love this life. I'm so grateful. I used to say, when I got the big record deal in Hardline, I used to say it's a great gig when you can get it. And I would tell my family, be grateful every day, because this is not easy. to accomplish, and you have to respect it and enjoy it and be happy for it. And I'm that person. When I do these events, I tell my team, let's go make people happy. It's not about the money. It's not about I get embarrassed. You see, I start to cry. People chanting my name. Yeah. It's not about that for me. I love it. Thank you. More. No. It's about finishing a song and putting that audience in a place of comfort and safe. And I always thought about that with the community. And I got to understand that these games and this music is a safe place, especially for someone who might be struggling or autistic, and it's a safe place. And so why not promote that and keep that alive? And that's what we're doing here. 25,000 people. I had a fan come up to me at a meet and greet in Santiago, Chile. 30,000 people I performed for. It was insane. And this kid came up to me and hugged me and started crying. And I said, what is wrong? What's happening? And this person said, I was bullied. I was called names. I was a nerd. I was this. I was an outcast. They beat me up. I'm like, what? And then I said, look at us now. And this kid just bawled, crying. I said, you were not wrong. You were not wrong. See, I get all, see what happens? See, you were not wrong. You were you. Mm-hmm. You have value. You are important to this world. So that's my quest as I am approaching Crush 60. We're not going to change the name. That's enough. But yeah, my quest, I tell my team, let's make people happy.
And I saw that firsthand when we were in the green room before you went out to perform in front of MAGFest last night.
Yes.
And so I can verify that.
I never turn anyone away who wants to say something or get a hug or whatever. I make the time because they've given me this life and I'm grateful for it, really.
So before we wrap up, and sorry for the hard right turn here.
No.
We did just see, I believe it was last year, a lawsuit had been kind of thrown out, I guess, is the best way to put it, right? Or what's the deal there? Because there was a kind of a legal dispute over the ownership rights of Live and Learn.
Yes, so I own the song Live and Learn. Sega thought they owned the song Live and Learn. They don't. I have a contract. I was contracted to write the lyrics for the purposes of Sonic Adventure 2 only.
Okay.
That's it. And so, as you know, I'm not a gamer. I just admitted that, and everyone knows it and makes fun of me. Years went by, and I don't follow the games. There's generations in this game and that, and I would tell a buddy of mine, hey, am I in that game? Yeah, you're in that game. Oh, I am? And then I'd look back and go, wait a minute. I never authorized that game. Why am I not? Anyway, long story short, every time that song was placed, there was a contract. It was official. There was a payment as an artist, and life went on. But unfortunately, about 24 assets happened without my knowledge. Mm. And that is just not okay. This is artistry. We have to be paid for our art. We have to authorize this. But the case was dismissed because of time. We call it statute of limitations. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that this was happening. So this lawsuit should have happened around 2004. Sure. I'm glad it didn't, because it would have probably most likely would have ruined the relationship. Mm. But it was dismissed over time. No one lost. No one won. The song basically remains in limbo, but I'm the publisher of record, and I'm the composer along with Jun Sonoe. And Sega does not own this song. They just simply don't own the composition. They just don't. So that's where that's at. Look, I have nothing against them. I think they do a great service for the community. Sonic is huge. I'm glad to be part of it. It's a huge part of my life. This is just the business side of it that sucks. Mm-hmm. It just sucks. I'm not sure I don't believe it was malicious against me. I think it was just something that slipped through the cracks 24 times. And I just wanted it to be corrected. Mm-hmm. Well, the judge just thought that, hey, too much time has gone by. And this is why I filed the lawsuit before the movie came out. I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to build it up and then have this big payout. As a matter of fact, what I wanted in terms of money was so minimal that it was offensive and hurtful that they didn't accept that. And they tried to pay me out little peanuts to go away. And that was hurtful. I've done a lot for this community. But I don't focus on Sega, the company. I focus on the characters that they created, that the fans love, coupled with the music that supports it. Mm-hmm. And the business, I don't give a shit about. I really don't. I filed it because it's the right thing to do, mm-hmm. and to help other artists make sure that their work is recognized and paid for. And I have emails and contracts with Live and Learn for other games, but not for those other 24. What's really odd, Brian, is that after that lawsuit was dismissed, a couple days later, I was contacted by Epic Games for the use of Live and Learn. And I said, how did you get my number? Why are you calling me? And they said, oh, Sega said we have to call you because you own the song. So this is what we call the business of music. And I try to stay away from it. So anyway, the filing of that lawsuit was a wake up to make sure that going forward, companies like Sega do the right thing for the artists. That's it. I leave it at that. No one won. No one lost.
It almost feels reminiscent of like Jack Kirby back in the Marvel days of like, all right, I created these characters, but now suddenly Marvel owns them. I don't own them. I don't get any residuals or anything like that. And it started this whole legal battle of like, you know, ownership when you're an artist and you design a character or in your case, write a song and perform a song. Like, who owns the rights to that? And I think that most people in that scenario would say the artist owns it, not the company. But it has definitely been a fight over the decades.
It's terrible. Yeah. I mean, you know, when there's a dispute like that, you have to go back to the documentation. Mm-hmm. And it's really simple. And so many of my closest friends in this franchise just simply couldn't believe that I own the song. I'm like, yeah, I own the song. You want to see the contract? There it is. They only own the lyrics for the purposes of Sonic Adventure 2. Mm-hmm. And its byproducts. A byproduct could be a deluxe edition or this and that and the other. That's it. That's all they owned. So it was hurtful. It was hurtful because, you know, everything went silent. And all the love and passion work that I've given, you know, and then you're silenced, and not cool. That's the, you know, that's the hurtful part. Mm-hmm. But again, I've moved past it. I hope the fans understand what happened there, and that's not my focus. My focus is this community, this music, coupled with the franchise and what we've created with Sonic and the games. And let's just have fun.
I think that's a great approach to take.
Thanks.
I do have to ask, though,
yes.
Is there any chance that this relationship is salvaged? Like, do you think that there is a path forward where Johnny and Sega are, you know, in good terms, or even in a best case scenario, you know, working together again?
I will tell you, Brian, honestly, from the core of my heart, if Sega called tomorrow and said, Johnny, we need you for this, that, and the other, I'm like, I'm there. I do not hold on to this kind of stuff. I move past, I forgive, I move forward, and knowing especially that the community would love this, you know, to continue. Absolutely. I'm not angry with them. I'm disappointed. Mm-hmm. I'm hurt, but I'm not angry. They're a company. They want to sell games. That's their MO. My MO is making people happy. So if they called me and wanted to do something, absolutely. Yes, it's salvageable. Absolutely. Awesome. 100%.
I think a lot of people will be excited to hear that because
100%.
Like I said, a lot of people got into you through these Sonic games, and they associate you so closely with that. And to kind of bring the conversation to an end and kind of bring the story full circle that I started, back when I discovered Crush 40 and then through that Hardline, I feel like that really kind of set me down a path of music that I was really liking. And then from there, I started branching out into more and more rock bands. And then in 2007, 2007, co-founded a rock and roll website, started doing interviews with musicians. I talked about this last week on that episode of my podcast, but, started doing that. And then through that, got into things like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And without that, starting me down that path of Crush 40 and Hardline, I don't know if I ever would have, and leading that into writing about rock, I don't know if I ever would have made the leap to writing about video games. So
interesting.
There is this full circle of like getting into your music and then where I'm at now.
You are the perfect music fan because you cross-pollinated, and it blows me away how many Crush 40 fans are now Hardline fans, or now Axl fans, or they'll listen to a solo, or they'll listen to a collab. It's really a dream career that I have. And it's just worked so beautifully that I can just continue to make art. It's amazing. And Brian, and you heard it at the show, every single show, every city, in every country around this world, I say the same thing, and people know it's coming. I thank everyone for giving me my life. I didn't create this music life. They created it for me by acceptance and support and continued support and this cross-pollination of all my music. So I'm forever grateful to the fans, and that's why I give so much of myself to them.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time out of your MAGFest.
Yes.
This has been an awesome thing, but many months and years in the making. I've been wanting to have you on the show, so this is amazing to have you on.
Thank you for your contribution to all of us, too.
Oh, thank you.
Keeping everything alive. You're the best. He's the best.
And I'll come back to you in just one second, but thank you so much, everyone, for listening. As you know, the Patreon and the associated Discord server are the best ways to get any questions or comments in. You can also reach out to me at brian@allthingsnintendo.com or hit me up on social media at Brian P. Shea. Johnny, tell everyone where they can find you online, what you got going on, whatever you want to plug.
I'm a social idiot. Just Google me, Johnny Gioeli, Crush 40. Everything's there.
That is our show for this week. Thank you again so much for listening. Take care. We will see you next time. See you. Hey everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of All Things Nintendo. Before we get out of here, I just want to give a special thank you to the $10 patrons of the podcast. Alex Stadnick, Andy Junkins, Ben Richland, Chad Brecky, Chaps My Ass, Derek Sigmund, Dusty Beeman, Ian T. Clark, Jawar Hello, Johnny Five, Jose Villalobos, Joshua DeProy, Casey Radio Man, Cody Gibson, Creeper 207, Ozman 83, Paul at Drunk on Mako, Pratable, Rob McCann, Bobby Mac 265, Robert Sosa, Roberto Nieves, Roger Reichert, Russell Sayer, Smithy Poo, Zane Sink, and Zek 3 Sword Sama. Thank you so much for your continued support of this podcast. It would not be possible without you. All right. We are back, and we are at a convention called MAGFest, or I guess Super MAGFest. And I'm joined by our first of two very special guests. She is a podcast co-host at Blood of the Axe God.
You almost got it there.
Axe of the Blood God. Okay, we'll start over. Sorry about that.
going to be screaming at you.
I completely...
That's totally
I know
cool.
it, too, because I've been on Axe of the Blood God.
I thought you were doing it good.
Blood of the Axe God, yeah. That's pretty good. That's just a brain fart right there. Let's try that again.
Hello, it's Ian from Respect the Crit, an inclusive tabletop RPG actual play podcast about exploring new worlds.
Our camera pans down on the world of Ord Mantell.
New characters.
Carolus would like to make a counter offer.
Chinese 2 scoops Charizard.
If that's your voice, I'm gonna be so excited.
Yeah.
And playing whatever we want to play. Sabak!
What a great game.
From Dungeons and Dragons.
Can you roll another d20?
12.
You, for the next 72 hours, are 12 years old.
Oh no!
To the post-apocalypse.
He's a vault dweller, you could probably tell with the jumpsuit and everything like that. Hey, lads, you gotta tell me where your vault is?
It's not gonna happen.
We've got stories in all kinds of settings, including video games.
This is gonna be a Sephiroth-free experience.
Horror.
Crawling out of the mirror, a nightmarish amalgamation of twisted limbs and jagged teeth, its visage a grotesque mockery of humanity.
And a galaxy far, far away.
This is fun. Let's do it again. And then he'll punch it and we'll go into light speed.
The dice tell a story, and we have a hell of a lot of fun rolling with it.
No way.
No!
Are you
joking
me?
Oh my god. This is so... Yes.
Whatever the system, miss or a hit, you always gotta respect the crit. Join us bi-weekly, every other Wednesday for characters, campaigns, and new episodes, anywhere podcasts exist.